Hi, I hope all is well with you and that you're staying safe. This week in Eretz Yisrael, we're learning Parshas Bahaloscha. In Chutz La'aretz, they're learning Parshas Naso because last Shabbos was the second day of Shavuos in Chutz La'aretz, so therefore they didn't read the regular Parshas HaShavua, but read the Torah learning specifically for Shavuos, so that you're one parsha behind Eretz Yisrael. In Parshas Naso, we learn about the Nazir, the individual who takes upon himself or herself the vow, amongst other things, to spend at least a month, if not years, not drinking wine or any wine substances, and not cutting one's hair. And it's very interesting that at the end of the Nazir period, there is a number of karbanos that the Nazir has to bring, and a number of other rituals that the Nazir goes through. And finally, the Nazir cuts his hair or her hair totally off and burns it on the Mizbeach. And it's interesting that after the procedure, the Torah records, and it says as follows: V'achar, after the conclusion of the Nazir period, Yishte ha-Nazir yayin. The Nazir can drink wine. The simple question is, he or she is no longer a Nazir. So it should say, V'achar ha-ish yishte yayin. Not the Nazir. He's no longer a Nazir. Why are they calling him a Nazir? And the answer, which is a very appropriate answer, I believe, for all of us to learn from, is the fact that Chazal and the Torah is teaching us that once a person becomes a Nazir, even though the restrictions are no longer in effect, once he or she has been able to reach a particular level of kedusha, of holiness, of sanctity, that individual should never go back to being just a common individual. And I think the lesson for us is very apparent. We've just experienced a Shavuos. Hopefully, it was an inspiring experience where we gained a greater recognition, a greater closeness to the Torah, a greater understanding of how important the Torah is to our lives and how it's perhaps the most important aspects of our lives. And the Yetzer Hara will try to convince us, well, that was Shavuos, now let's get back to the real world. The real world is Torah. The real world is mitzvos. The real world is staying as close to the level as we possibly can, to that wonderful level that we reached on the Chag. And applies to so many aspects of our lives. If an individual has a wonderful davening, and it comes to the next time that they're about to daven, he or she says to themselves via the Yetzer Hara, well, that was a good davening, but that's not you. You can't have such a good davening all the time. Don't let the Yetzer Hara convince you that you can't. If you've experienced it once, the Torah is telling us, we've reached that level, we can reach it again. In all aspects of our lives, if we're able to accomplish something once, it means we can accomplish it again and again and again. We just have to understand and appreciate the accomplishments that we attained and not to give up. Even if my next tefillah is not as good as that previous tefillah, perhaps the tefillah after that will be. As long as it's in the forefront of my consciousness and I don't forget that I was able to achieve something special, in the Mitzvah Hashem with Siyata D'Shmaya, I will be able to continue to move in a positive direction and continue to climb up that ladder of success, of the ladder of Ruchnius. Have a wonderful day and a meaningful Shabbos.